So listen, this isn't a dividends are bad video like whatsoever. I mean, I want to be upfront about that, but it's going to be a bit more uncomfortable than that because I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. You see, when I was 22, 23 years old, I built my portfolio almost entirely around dividends. And it wasn't because I was just like blindly copying people online, not because some guru was mentioning anything about this, but it was because I genuinely loved the idea of getting paid to hold. So every deposit, every payment, I was tracking everything. I still love dividends and I own a lot of them right now, but my portfolio doesn't look anything like the way that it used to. And today I want to actually explain why and maybe whether or not this is relevant for you and where you're at. But before we get into it, I want you to hold one question in your head the entire time that you're watching this video. Why are you investing in dividends? Is it for the income, the psychology, the strategy behind it? And hold on to that because, this answer is really going to matter by the end. So let's talk about why dividends pull in so many different investors. And here's the thing about dividends. I don't think that enough gets said. Like the appeal is completely legitimate. Getting paid to hold is fundamentally different emotional experience-wise than watching a number that just fluctuates on the screen. Now, dividends are tangible, so even though you're not buying and selling and you feel that income coming in, you can see the deposit, it hits your account, and you open a spreadsheet and you can project what your next month looks like, what your next year looks like. I mean, you can share it on a forum or a YouTube channel, which is what I've historically done, and it makes investing feel real in a way that paper gains just genuinely don't. So there's this whole community that's built around this. It's the dividend YouTube rabbit hole. I've been down it myself. There's the income tracking spreadsheets, there's dividend reinvestment setups. All of it is so appealing. That ecosystem, it gamifies long-term investing in a way that keeps people engaged and consistently investing. And that's not a small thing to consider here. Because here's what actually kills the most investors. They just end up quitting. They get bored during flat markets, they panic sell during downturns, and they never build discipline to stay investing. So if dividends is what keeps you showing up and contributing every single month, then that habit alone is worth more than most people out there, I think, realize. Consistency is the most underrated skill in this whole game. And the underlying goal with dividends, I mean, cash flow, passive income, not trading your time for money forever, that is the right goal. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that wanting passive income is inherently wrong. That's exactly the right thing to want. That is the goal for all fundamentals in investing and wealth building, okay? But the goal being right doesn't automatically mean that dividends are the right tool for your specific stage that you're in. And that's what I want to dig into, okay? Now, here's what dividends can and can't do, because I want to be real about all of this stuff. At scale, we're talking with large portfolios. Dividend investing is genuinely a powerful strategy. Consistent income from quality companies, psychological anchorage during downturns because the income keeps rolling in no matter what's happening to the prices. They could be cratering. That income's still coming in. A built-in reinvestment habit that happens, a legitimate long-term wealth building strategy. All of it is 100% real. But here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud. With small portfolios, dividends move just so dang slowly. $10,000 invested at a 3.5% yield, which is a solid yield, generates about $29 a month. That's not an insult to dividends. That's just math. I mean, $29 is real money, but it's not the passive income picture that most people have in their heads when they're getting started. And this isn't criticism towards any of this. It's just a timing issue. You see, when your portfolio is small, your contribution rate is doing almost all of the heavy lifting. So what you add each month, it matters far more than what the yield actually generates. The dividends are not the engine at that stage, but rather you, the investor, you are. So the honest question then becomes, what are you actually optimizing for? If you've got $25,000 to $50,000 in dividends and you're calling yourself like a dividend investor, passive income strategy, well, you're not really delivering income. You're delivering motivation to yourself, which is fine. Motivation is extremely valuable, but be honest with yourself on which one it actually is. Now, there's also a timing dimension that most people miss, okay? Dividends are genuinely optimized for the distribution phase of investing. So when your portfolio is large enough to live off the income, fantastic. Most people in their 20s are deep in the accumulation phase. You're building the base, you're optimizing for distribution before you've accumulated, and it's like setting up retirement withdrawal plan before you've actually saved for your retirement. You're solving the right problem, it's just like premature, just kind of at the wrong time. But here's where it gets a little bit personal because this isn't where I stopped thinking about it. My situation has changed. Now, the real reason my portfolio changed isn't because that I read some research report on the total return. No, I am just super analytical with all of this stuff. It's because my life just changed. And I think that's actually the more honest and more useful answer to a video like this. You see, a few years ago, I bought a duplex, a rental property. And when that happened, something clicked because suddenly I had actual cash flow. I had real monthly income from real estate that I could see, use, and count on that was delivering far more than the dividends that I was investing in. And for the first time, my investment portfolio didn't need to solve the cash flow problem anymore. Real estate was doing that job pretty solidly. And at that time, my income had grown. I was earning far more than I had before, and that meant that I could invest more aggressively than what I was used to. And I wasn't in survival mode because I had margin now. When you're not dependent on your portfolio for near-term income and you have more capital to put to work, well, you start to think about things differently. So when both of those things happened at the same time, cash flow getting covered by somewhere else and more capital available to deploy, the argument for maximizing yield inside my stock portfolio just got weaker. Now, I could afford to let the portfolio do what it does best at this stage and try to get it to compound. So the reframe that I had is dividends were solving for something specific in my investing life. Once I had something that got another portion of that handled, well, I didn't need the portfolio to carry that weight. It is still the most addicting. It is still like my favorite form of investing, but that form of the portfolio just has a different job. And I haven't sold out of all of my dividend investments. All I've done is slowed the pace at which I'm putting money into different dividend stocks and increase the pace at which I'm investing into, growth ETFs, VOO, things like that. So what is your portfolio actually supposed to do? And that's the most important question in investing. It isn't what should I buy? It's what do I need this portfolio to do for me right now? And most people, well, they never ask the second question. They just buy what sounds smart or what the algorithm's recommending. So listen, if you're in your 20s, portfolio is small, no other meaningful income streams yet, that's where I actually liked dividends because it just made sense for me emotionally. It got me invested. It got me into the game. So I think for a lot of people, it actually gets a worse rap at the beginning than it probably should. Now, it can't be your primarily an income strategy at that point, even though that's what I thought at that point, but it's because the engagement, the motivation, it creates this, mindset that keeps you invested. So just be honest with yourself that that's what you're doing if you're in a similar situation. Now, if your income has grown and you don't have near-term cash flow needs from your portfolio, growth tilted probably starts looking like it makes a little bit more sense. Your portfolio job is to compound, and you got to let it do that. Now, if you have other income streams that are starting to come online, you got rental income, maybe a business, a side hustle of any kind, the same logic kind of applies. You let the portfolio grow aggressively. You have other things that are now generating you cash. You use that as your advantage. As the portfolio gets larger or as you actually start approaching a phase where you want to live off of it, well, that's when you technically start shifting towards the income and you dial up the intentionality behind it. And it's not failure towards what, you probably have been working to, what I've worked to in the past. It's just the plan that's coming to fruition. So if I'm going to be honest, my current growth core isn't anything crazy. It's VTI, it's VOO, and I do still hold a significant portion of SCHD. Now, the great thing is when the market is really volatile, SCHD is held pretty steady for me, and I do love having that as a position in my portfolio. And just the aspect behind it, I'm going to continue investing in both paths and building both at the same time. But what I've learned is that it's also really important to start building out these other income streams so you have more disposable income and you can just keep shelling money into the market. Or honestly, what I've neglected for such a long time in my career is not reinvesting the money that you're earning from your business into your business, but rather into the market or whatever it is. And what I'm realizing is for the more potential that you have in that stuff, it just makes a ton of sense. Okay. So yeah, the proportions at which I'm investing have increased, but the actual allocation has also shifted because the way that I'm distributing those funds going forward. I have a little bit more risk tolerance when you start making more money and things like that. You can afford to do it at a younger age. So that's where I'm at. And the point isn't to copy my allocation. The point is to just be intentional about why you're holding and what you're holding. And because that's most people just aren't. They drift into a strategy on what they were watching on YouTube at 23 years old, and they never kind of revisit it. So what I'd tell myself back when I was 22, I wouldn't say, hey, never buy dividend stocks, because that's not the lesson. The lesson is to be honest about what you're doing. You see, at 22, I was chasing the cash flow in my portfolio because I didn't really have cash flow anywhere else, and it motivated me. It is a completely understandable thing to want. The desire makes total sense, but there are multiple paths towards passive income, and some of them build more wealth in the long run than front-loading your portfolio with yield. So what I'd tell myself, yes, invest more aggressively in broad market growth early, while also building towards real income streams in other areas. And I think that I would also still mix in a portion of dividends, just because that's what I gravitate towards the most. I would try to focus on rental income, business income, whatever version of that is fitting my life. And I'd let that portfolio that I'm building compound without trying to extract from it before it's big enough to matter. And honestly, yeah, I would still hold SCHD. The psychology behind this is huge for me. The companies are quality as well. Dividend growth investing as a component is very legitimate for strategy. And I'm not here to talk anyone out of that. I'm just here to say it's just not the whole thing, right? You got to be going down both lanes if you're in that version. And the version that I think actually works is just dividends are a component of your larger strategy. It's not the actual strategy in itself. And a core of a broad market exposing ETF, maybe some of those riskier growth positions do help. It's just got to be that blend that has a dividend sleeve that gives you the tangible feedback loop and the income exposure that will matter a lot more when the portfolio becomes bigger. Okay, so here's the question that I asked you at the start. Why are you investing in dividends? After all of this, I'm not sure, does that reason hold up for you? Maybe it does. Maybe dividends genuinely fit where you're at right now. Maybe the motivation and the engagement are the thing that's keeping you consistent through all the rough patches, especially nowadays, like when the market's red. It's been great to go in and see the portfolio being green, and that's worth just so much more than people are going to admit. Okay, maybe you have no other income streams yet. You want to be less risky with your money, so you want to go after those dividend kings, dividend aristocrats, some of those companies with a better financial backing than what you're seeing in the growth and the risk and everything else that comes with it. Even if they're small, as part of the plan, it might make some real sense in your situation. Or, and this is who the video is really for, maybe you've been holding dividends because it felt like the responsible, mature thing to do, and growth felt too speculative or risky or somehow less serious. Now, if that's the case, I just want you to sit with this for a second, because that's a fear-based allocation that you have. That's the same that I found myself in. It's not really a strategy-based one. And you deserve to know the difference for that. Now, drop a comment. Tell me where you're at. Are you all in with dividends, all in with growth, somewhere in the middle? And more importantly, tell me your actual reason. I read all these comments. It means a lot to me. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one.